Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review. Welcome back to another exciting installment of Build the Batmobile by FanHome. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another fantastic installment of the FanHome DeAgostini Build the Batmobile. Now this is from the classic TV series from 1966. I received Pack 20 in the mail, and I'll be working on stages 102 through 106. Now we'll go ahead and continue with assembling the passenger door, just like we did for the driver's door. We're going to mount that onto the body, and we're going to work on the back side of the body there, install a very large panel down on the back of the body, and install the taillights and some LEDs. Then we'll get started with the front of the car at the very end. Let's go ahead and look at the parts that came with Pack 20. 102, passenger door parts. Again, 103, more passenger door parts. 104, some parts to complete the passenger door, and that's where we'll mount it to the body. 105, rear taillights. Great there, fantastic. And I received a large box for this. We received the front of the car with 106. Let's get started. Go ahead and look at the magazine here for 102. Remember that magazine highlights the episodes as we go along, so we're already up to Season 3, Episode 102, The Og and I, and that aired November 2nd, 1967. And then Great Batman Comics, Origin of the Killer Croc, and that's from 1983. Batman Year by Year, Batman 18 Part 2. Very cool there. And of course our step-by-step instructions, and as I said before, we're going to complete the passenger door here. So if you haven't done so already, head over to FanHome and sign up for this if it's available. I know it's a sale out and it's probably not currently available, but you might be watching this video 2 years from now and maybe it's out there. Check out FanHome's website to see all their fantastic cars and kits and collections that they have available. I'll put a link down below to FanHome. Here's the parts that came with 102. Let's go ahead and get a closer look at these. EM screws, parts for the door, the edging, and the door handle. Alright, I brought over the passenger door. We're going to go ahead and put the edge panel onto that. And that simply is just going to slide in, just like that. And we're going to install 3 EM screws to hold that in place. Alright, the 3 EM screws are installed. Made sure they are tight. I used 3-in-1 oil. Anytime I put screws into metal, I'll use that oil. Now we'll go ahead and mount our door handle on top here. Little chrome one, and it's just a press to fit. If you want to put a little bit of super glue on that, you can, but it feels pretty tight. Looks like it will stay in place. But that's what that looks like there. That's all I do for 102. Let's head over and get started on 103. Here's the parts we received for 103. Fitting the hinge panel, so we're going to go ahead and put that on. 2 EM screws goes into that. That's what that looks like. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 103. Let's get a closer look. EM and our little brushed aluminum colored trim made of plastic, and our hinge panel. And 2 EM screws were put in, and I made sure they are tight. Looks good. That's all I do with stage 103. Let's get started on 104. Here's the parts I received for 104, which is the inner door panel, the hinge. Install that trim piece on the inner door panel first. And then the door handle itself. We'll probably have to super glue that knob onto the door handle like I did before. Just a little dab of super glue is all you need for that. Then we'll install the hinge mechanism onto the body frame area, and then we'll install the door onto the body frame just like we did before. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 104. Here's our door panel, hinge, bunch of screws. AP, EM screws. Here's our metal hinge. Here's all the parts for the door handle, and here's our inner door trim panel made of plastic. Here's the door panel with the trim installed. 3 AP screws were used for that. Right here, right there, and right there. Now I'll go ahead and install my door handle. So we'll take the door handle itself and we'll insert it up here onto the top, and then we'll take the little cover piece that holds that in place and put that over that. We'll go ahead and put our 2 AP screws into that. 2 AP screws were put in place right there to hold that all in, and I'll go ahead and put the knob onto the handle. I put a little dab of super glue on it. And that should hold it in place. That's what that looks like there. Now we'll go ahead and install this on the door. Door panel is installed. That's how that looks there. Looks great. Now let's go ahead and install the hinge onto the body. Alright, I mounted the hinge bracket onto the body. 4 EM screws were installed, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. Made sure they are tightened down all the way. I did use 3-in-1 oil for that. Now let's go ahead and mount the door. Bring the door over, and simply gonna line everything up here and put 2 EM screws in on it, top and bottom. And both screws are installed and they are tight. There's a little bit of oil on those also. And the door opens, no problem, opens and closes just like it should. Looks good. And that completes stage 104. Let's get started on stage 105. Here, let's look at the parts we received with this stage. And we did receive some sticky tape, as they call it, some electrical tape. And the first thing they want us to do is to uninstall the rear body. All those CM screws we put in, we're going to take those out. Then we're going to go ahead and proceed to install the tail lights in those areas on the bottom where they wrap around. Then we'll secure some of the cables. Run the wiring as illustrated here. Then we'll go ahead and reinstall the rear body with those CM screws we took out. Then we'll go ahead and insert those LED cables where they need to go. and then we'll go ahead and tape them down in place. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 105. Let's get a closer look. AM, BM, and CM screws. Here's our tail light housing, made of plastic, chrome plated, and the tail light itself, clear red plastic. Very nice there. Very cool. Some brackets and the nice roll of tape they gave us. Alright, so I went ahead and removed the upper panel off the main body. I removed 12 of those screws. I'm going to put this aside so it doesn't get damaged. And bring over the main body. We're going to flip it over and we're going to install the tail lights back here in this area here. Okay, a little closer view for you. We're actually going to mount the clear lens back here on the rear of the body. It has two mounting lugs right here that it's going to go on, and these aren't marked, but this is the side that we want because that's going to match our fin or the wing on that side of the car, and we're going to put that down just like that. Okay. There we go. And then once we have that installed, on top of that we're going to put the clear bezel here, right? This is the chrome piece, really nice. That's going to go on top of that. And then 2 BM screws will go into that to hold it in place. Okay, the next thing I did is I unplugged the 3 LED wire connectors on the chassis, and they're wires E, F, and I. That's this right here. I unplugged them off the chassis, so I have them here right now. Here's F, E, and I. All 3 of those. So we're going to mount those to the rear of the car here. Alright, so I installed the LED lights on the panel. I kind of jumped ahead a little bit because you can kind of tell what you need to do with these lights. So you have turn signal, parking, and brake on each side. Yellow turn signal, red parking and brake. And then so I ran the E and I wire over here on the left, and then I ran the E and F wire over here on the right. And went ahead and neatened them up, brought them around. They're all going to be over here on what we call the right hand side of the car to get plugged in a little bit later. Now I need to go ahead and mount this back onto the car body. I'll be right back. Okay, the upper body has been reattached to the lower body with those 12 CM screws. I put those back in. Be careful when you do that you don't trap any of their LED wiring for the taillights underneath any panels or anything like that when you do that. Now I did that on my lap. I installed all this stuff on my lap. It's easier to keep the windshield and the exhaust stacks from getting damaged in between my legs. So that was the easy part about it, and pretty simple. Now let me show you what I did with the taillights. Now with the taillights, we have the turn signals, the yellow ones, on the outside of the bezel. So the yellow goes right there and there on the outside. Okay, and then the parking, the red parking and brake lights are in the inboard side, and they got plugged in. I ran the wiring across out of the way for the parking lights on both sides, and I neatened up all the wiring running down, running it over to the left hand side of the car, ready to be plugged in a little bit later. So that completes stage 105. Let's get started on stage 106. Alright, final stage for this video, stage 106. We'll be fitting the windshield to the front body panel, and there's our front body panel. We'll have to go and retrieve the front windshield out of storage. Very nice there. Looks like we put in 4 AM screws for that. And that's all we do. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. And here's 106, well protected in this cardboard box. Go ahead and remove it here for you. Well protected in the blister pack here. I'm going to take the top off. Screws are taped in. Alright, so there it is. Beautiful. Very nice. And very nice. Very impressive. Certainly looks like the Batmobile. So we're going to go ahead and install the front windshield onto this panel here. Alright, I went ahead and I retrieved the windshield from storage. I kept it in its protective wrap here. And this came from stage 4, so we've had it that long ago, you can see there. And I'll go ahead and take it out. We're going to install this on that body panel. And it's simply going to slide down from the top, kind of at an angle here. Being very careful here. There we go. Looks pretty good. A little closer view there of what it looks like from the top. And we're going to go ahead and put our 4 AM screws into that. When putting the AM screws in on your windshield here, the outside mounts, you want to push out on them to make sure that they line up. You see that? Push out on it when it lines up, and then you can go ahead and put your screw in. Put a little 3-in-1 oil on it and tighten it down. Good. That way you know the sides of your windshield are all lined up with no gaps or anything like that showing. That's all we do with 106. Looks great. Front windshield is installed. I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and just test fitted the body over the chassis just so you can see what it looks like. Looks great. We are all the way up to pack 20, phase 106, and that's what it looks like. We've done a lot up until now, and it's fantastic looking. This thing is a beast. Fantastic. This was a sellout, but head over to FanHome to see if it's available as you're watching this video. You could be watching it 2 years from now and want to check it out. I suggest you jump on it if it's available. Head over to FanHome and see what other kits and collections they have available on their site. It's fantastic. So, I'm very pleased with this so far. This was pretty much an easy pack to build, except for this 105 was having to do with some disassembly and reassembly and all that, but that was a little fun. Remember, when you do that, put the car on your lap. Makes it a lot easier. You're not going to damage anything while you're doing that. So looks great. So if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and we will see you on pack 21 next month. Take care.